Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are testing out another brand new foundation, and today's foundation is from Morphe. Being honest, I was quite surprised that Morphe had a new foundation out. I didn't think they were a thing anymore, but clearly they are, and they've released their new Lightform Extended Hydration Foundation. I actually haven't purchased anything from Morphe in years, and I'm actually really excited to get this on because it sounds like a really natural glow from within foundation, and the shade range looked really good. So today will be a first impressions, but I will be doing a full wear test, and I'll also bring you out in the daylight so you can see what it looks like on the skin with no artificial lighting. All right, I'm intrigued. Let's get it on. So I picked this up in the shade 8N, which is light to medium with neutral undertones. The shades were selling out so fast on the Morphe website, but I actually managed to get this on the Brown Thomas website in Ireland, which I was really surprised about. I did not know that they even sold Morphe. I must have been living under a rock. It cost me €23 and it retails for about £20 sterling and $20 US. When I purchased this from Brown Thomas, it actually came with a free brush. I have some Morphe brushes and they are kind of hit and miss. Some are not great and some are really good and I use all the time. So this is the dual-ended complexion brush and it actually looks quite good, and on the website it retails for about €17. I feel like I got a bit of a deal. I'm wondering if I should use it today. You know that I like my BK Beauty 101 brush, but I think if I've received this I should probably give it a whirl. And also they have this little end on here which is actually perfect, you know, for going around the eyebrows. I think that's quite genius. So I think, look, we'll see how we get on with this brush. I do like to use my normal foundation brush, but we'll see how it goes, see if I like it or not. Just have a look at the claims of the foundation. So it's vegan, natural finish, claims to be long wearing, alcohol-free, talc-free, oil-free. This weightless, long-wearing formulation floats on to diffuse imperfections instantly with undetectable, buildable medium coverage. Lightform leaves skin with a natural lasting radiance that glows from within, and it's actually made in Italy. So, ooh, fancy. Okay, so this is the shade 8N. Really nice runny consistency. Looks like a really good shade match. So as usual, I have only primed my skin with moisturizer, the usual Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, because then obviously it will give us an idea of how this foundation performs. Let's just dot this on the skin. This is 30ml of product. Do half of the face. No fragrance, which is great. None at all. Obviously, in my head, I'm comparing it to my most recent review, which was the Makeup Forever. They actually have very similar claims. That is a perfect shade match. That really looks like skin. Right, let's use the other end to go around my eyebrow. So I'm just going to build it up a little bit more on this side because it claims to be buildable. Can you see the comparison there? So this is the side with and this is the side without. So I'm now going to do the other side, and I'm going to do it with my normal foundation brush just to see if I do notice any difference at all. This is the BK Beauty 101, so I'm just going to dip into it this time and just... I feel like this shade would be quite good for olive skin actually. That's very easy to blend. And it actually gives a really good amount of coverage. I don't know if you can see that. Definitely a lot more coverage than the Makeup Forever. I will link that video for you if you want to just see what the Makeup Forever is like. And obviously the Makeup Forever is a lot more expensive than this foundation. I'm going to apologise now for the lighting. I do try my best to film with natural daylight and with lights, but it doesn't always work out well. As you can see, the lighting in the room is changing. Please do accept my apologies for that. I am working on it. So as you can see, a really good amount of coverage, but really supernatural looking. I expected it to be very glowy and quite dewy. I don't know why. Maybe because all foundations are like that now. I'm going to say that I think this is quite self-setting. It's kind of reminding me of the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. And if you've never been here before, the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation is probably my holy grail foundation. I love it. It's a very luminous foundation, as it says in the title really, very light reflecting, gives your skin this beautiful, healthy, natural glow, but it does set down on the skin, on me anyway, and I'm getting that vibe from this. Can you see it's not overly glowy? It's definitely set itself. That's very interesting. I did not expect that. Let me just pop a tiny little bit more on. I'm actually really impressed with this brush. I don't tend to like a real bristly brush like this because I find that they shed quite a bit. I prefer the dense nature of the BK Beauty, and I find that it covers more of a surface area, but this is actually really good, and this bit is really handy for getting around those little, you know, specific areas. Very good. So I haven't brought the foundation up underneath my eyes. I never put foundation there, so that's why it might look a bit funny around my eyes at the minute before I get some concealer on. Turn this ring light off. But I've turned the ring light off now so that you can see my skin a little bit better. I think the foundation is really, really natural looking. Honestly, I was not expecting that. It looks really, really nice. If this sits well and continues to sit well over the course of the day, this could be quite an exciting find, especially given the price point. I'm going to give it a few minutes to sit now while I pop on a little bit more makeup. So I'll be back in a few and we'll see how it's going. Makeup is done and I just did my eyes, popped some concealer on, some blush and bronzer, and everything is looking extremely good. So let me bring you in to have a close look. As you can see, the finish of this foundation is very, very, very natural. It is giving a very, very sheer luminosity. I would describe it as a very, very sheer glow. So with some foundations that claim to be hydrating, they can get a little bit shiny, they can get a little bit too glowy. However, this foundation is different to some of the hydrating foundations that I've tried recently in the fact that it is completely self-setting. Now, I used a good amount of this foundation. I used pretty much 2.5 pumps because I wanted to see what the coverage was like. I didn't necessarily need the extra coverage, but I wanted to see if I could do it without it looking cakey, and I can guarantee that you can build up this coverage. It's not sitting into any of my lines. Now, I do have problematic areas around my nose and my chin with texture, and if a foundation is going to get a little bit too heavy, it will show itself in my smile lines. Now, looking at my smile lines, they just look like they do with any other foundation. So, you know, if you've got lines and you put product there, you're gonna have lines, but this is not emphasizing anything on my face, which I find quite remarkable because it has powdered down. So I would expect there to be a little bit of settling, but there hasn't been. Obviously, you can tell I've got makeup on, you know, it doesn't look barely there, but I don't look heavy, I don't look cakey, I don't look powdery, but I also don't look dewy, I don't look overly luminous. It is just super duper natural and I am here for it. So I'm not going to powder today. Well, first of all, I don't actually need to. I can see by looking at my face that it has powdered down, but ordinarily I would powder around my nose, but I don't think I'm gonna bother. Maybe I should put a bit of powder on there just to see what it looks like. A touch of powder on there just to see how it sits. Wow. I don't know why I expected that to look a bit cakey. This is going a bit too well, isn't it? what's gonna happen with this foundation? Is something weird gonna happen? I'm gonna head off about my day now. I will take you out. I think it's gonna rain. As you can see, it's got quite dark in here. So for the wear test, I'll make sure that I have my information in the description box, but I will pop it on the screen throughout the video, that which just tells you a little bit about my skin type, just to see how it compares with yours. All right, let's get cracking with this wear test. I'll see you later on. Okay, so we're just 2 hours in. Here we are in natural daylight, no artificial lighting. There is no cakiness, no settling, nothing that is causing me any concern at all. So there we are, just a check-in in the daylight. No artificial lighting. Looks good. Looks really good, doesn't it? So yeah, I'll see you in a couple of hours for another daylight check-in and we'll see how we're getting on. Hello, so I'm here for a 6-hour daylight check-in and I'm absolutely delighted with how this foundation is looking. I've been having a really good look at the performance, and one thing that I've noticed, which I didn't pick up on before, was how much it has actually blurred my pores. I'm hoping that you can see how much it's actually blurred my pores. Now, obviously, if you take a really good look around, just around my nose area, you know, no matter what foundation I wear, it will start to come away there, predominantly because I touch my face and my nose quite a lot. I do get quite a few oils, you know, coming through around my nose, which I think is just quite normal. But the actual blurring of my pores has been pretty incredible. And usually where I've got the thread veins on my nose, even when I powder, if I use concealer, I use foundation, that will start to come away, but they're still concealed, like they're still good to go. I feel like my first thoughts are, if you are oily, I think this could really work for you. They're my first thoughts. I have lots of other thoughts, but I'm going to bring them together at the end. And you know, if you are considering this foundation, I would advise sticking to the end or fast forwarding now to my conclusions, because I will bring it together. I'll be back later, probably in another 4 hours or so for the final check-in. So if you are interested in this foundation, I would maybe fast forward to that bit or stick with the video till then, so I can share what my thoughts are on this foundation. But really pleasantly surprised. I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks in another 4 hours or so. Okay guys, I'll see you then. So we're here for the final 9-hour check-in, and if you've come this far, I would be so grateful if you would consider subscribing to the channel. All right, so how is this Morphe foundation done? I've had this foundation now on my face for the past 9 hours. So I'll just bring you in a little bit so that you can see my skin up close, and just bear in mind that there's obviously no natural daylight left now. It's pitch black and we have artificial lighting on. So 9 hours. We've had no breaking away, no separation, no wearing away of the foundation. It hasn't become greasy or oily. It hasn't clung to any dry patches. It's really performed beautifully. And obviously you need to bear in mind my skin type, which is normal to dry. So I didn't use a primer, I just used a moisturizer, and I also did not set my face. And that's one thing that I really want to say about this foundation. It's incredibly self-setting. This foundation set itself and stayed exactly how it was when I first applied it. And that is fairly surprising to me. And for this reason, because of the performance of this foundation, because of the finish, because it gives you such a natural finish with a glow that isn't greasy or shiny, I feel like this foundation would be suitable for the majority of skin types. So some of the foundation highlights for me: number one, I don't necessarily equate fluid foundations to giving a high amount of coverage. I am delighted that I'm able to build up this foundation. So that was a real surprise. I was fully expecting just a skin tint, but I do think that there is an option to tone this down. So you saw how much I built this up, probably too much actually, but I just wanted to test it out. I wanted to show you what it could do, and I truly believe that if I were to just use one pump, I would just get a really nice level of coverage, probably suitable for a day-to-day basis. And you know, for the summer, I think this would be amazing. I think it's very rare to find a foundation that will be great all year round, and actually a foundation that you can use in the day that you could glam up at night. I think this foundation ticks both of those boxes. And the second highlight for me was how much it blurred my pores. The filtering effect this has on my problematic area is quite amazing. So I was editing the footage when I was applying earlier, and honestly, when I was applying the shade 8N, I do think this is suitable for olive toned. I could see green, so I think Morphe have been quite inclusive with their shade range. 36 shades to choose from and only a $20, £20 price tag. I think that is really, really good. I'm going to be completely real with you. Morphe have been quite a problematic brand in the past, and when I saw the notification about this foundation being released, I was really shocked. I thought they'd gone down the Swanee, but they're obviously trying to make things right. And guess what I'm trying to say is, if you had the same mentality as me, which was, oh gosh, I really don't want to associate with this problematic brand, maybe you should give them a try. I am absolutely delighted that I have. I would have been devastated to have missed out on this foundation. Maybe we just need to look into Morphe a little bit more and see where they're going, where they're heading, but it seems to be in quite a positive direction. I am going to continue to use this, to test this, and I will have a video coming up probably at the end of this month, February 2024, where I will be talking about my favourites and my fails. So, you know, if you want an update, maybe check in for that video, because no doubt I will be including it. And as always, please don't forget to leave your thoughts or your comments down in the section below. I would always love to hear from you, and I really, really enjoy reading your comments. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye for now.